let me clarify what we mean by oil, because we're actually talking about the early stages of oil, which is actually bitumen, and in the case of Peru, is actually what's called type 2 kerogen. It's marine grade. The feedstock where it originated from came from organic matter that broke down over millions of years, and it came from organic matter as opposed to it came from dead marine life as opposed to trees, algae based. Okay? So let's deal one at a time. Let's stay focused. We'll lay these out for North America first. So these are the samples from Suncor. This is Canada.
Alberta.
This is Fort McMurray. The samples I'm showing you now are from the US, and this is North Dakota. You'll hear people talk about the Bakken, North Dakota. And you'll see when we actually open up the samples from Peru, the differences between shales and oil sands. Or some people like to call them tar sands, but the oil industry doesn't like the connotation of tar. So, if the camera comes in closer, you'll see this is a sample from Block 19. This is oil shale from Peru, and this is oil shale from North America in the Bakken field. You'll see the two of them are very similar, but the characteristics of the different feedstock is very different. This is a very hard rock, very tight porosity, which means that they have to frack at high pressures with a whole bunch of dangerous chemicals to release to fracture it and break it up and to release what they call tight gas.
And that's what you're saying in the sample from North America?
So this is from the US, and it's all labelled, and you're welcome to take photographs of the labels. Okay? The difference between America and Peru is that that's very tight, millions of dollars of infrastructure per well, approximately 12 million gallons of water to frack a well. And what we have is a very soft material with lots of gas entrained into the sediment, and with this special catalyst that you see here, we talked about the liquid catalyst, is able to get in, break the surface tension of the gas initially, and release the gas immediately.
Without all of that infrastructure investment.
Correct. And the reason we can do that is all the feedstock for Peru for the license that we have are all on surface with no overburden. When you go to Fort McMurray to get access to this bitumen, first of all you've got to remove a forest, an arboreal forest, which is against economic and environmental rules. Then you generally take off between 50 to 150 metres of overburden, which is called muskeg, so it's a heavy, wet, sticky clay. Then you take off a sand layer, and eventually you get...
This is an open pit at this point.
The open pit. Now there's 5 open cast mines in North America and Canada, and the depth at the mine, they'll take off up to 100 metres of overburden to get to between 15 and 15 metres of feedstock. Now, there's billions of barrels available to them over a very vast area, but only 3% of all the assets that are in Canada can be done open cast. 97% of it is in situ, what they call SAGD, steam assisted gravity drainage. And of that, only 15% of that you can do with steam, to not get too technical, unless it's what they call cap rock. Here's surface level, here's the overburden, you drill down and go horizontal, here's your pay zone. But if you don't have a special type of rock below this, as you go down, and the cap rock at the top, as you go down through the pay zone, if there's not a cap rock using the word cap to contain it, when you put the steam down, it'll blast out everywhere. And
It stabilizes everything.
And a company called Total, Europe's largest refiner, an investor, lost $1 billion with Suncor trying to extract bitumen from a non-cap rock. We've now had this liquid catalyst approved by the Alberta regulator and the Saskatchewan regulator to say it can be used in areas of non-cap rock, because we do it at atmospheric pressure and ambient temperature. Very important to understand that. Okay, so we know America It's got similar looking rock, but the characteristics are totally different from Peru. But although there's a larger volume here, let's compare now the viscosity of the oil from North Dakota, which is a much lighter oil, but is highly explosive. It's lots of light volatiles compared to the sticky, thicker bitumen. That's the bitumen with the sand on it, and this is the pure bitumen. So you can see they are both oil, but one is different from the other. Now compare North America in the Bakken to the light oils that we're getting from solid rock. Now these are just small samples because we run many batches, but if the camera pans in, you'll see very consistently the consistency of this oil is very much like the American Bakken oil. This is high value, high energy, so is this. And there's many different examples here.
I'm sorry, where is this, what is the source of this material?
So this is block 19,
Peru.
That is from the Peru.
block 19, sample 10. Okay? Now,
And so, again, back to the similarity. Molecularly similar.
molecularly similar, there's more wax in the Peruvian one than there is in North Dakota. For a normal refinery, wax can be a nightmare. But for the second and third phase of our process, which I'm going to go through in some detail, high wax is actually more value.
Interesting.
Because we have a laser technology that takes this now and makes jet fuel, gasoline, diesel, or what's called API 100, which is so translucent it's clearer than water and it's non-toxic and you can drink it. But more importantly, you can make high-end pharmaceuticals from it in special plastics, and 1 barrel of this sells for around about, it's now $50 a barrel. 1 barrel of this processed through the laser sells for over $200 a barrel. So you can do the economics. The other thing I want to show you is, and all these different samples which we'll open up in a minute, these are all shale rock material, as in it looks and physically feels and touches like rock or a coal shale. And you'll see the examples here that compared to North America, embedded within this, we've also got a wax content. And again, you can see this is more a harder, solid material, but wax is very important for certain industries. The economics are incredible when we use the laser technology. If you take 1 barrel of heavy bitumen using hydrogen upgrading, which basically means you take a gas molecule and you strip out some hydrogen from that natural gas molecule and embed it into the bitumen, it's called upgrading. So you take this thick oil and you make it slightly thinner and better quality to pump down to the refineries in America. They get roughly a 17% bump in volume, but they're also consuming vast quantities of gas. When we use the laser technology and use this type of waxy oil, we get 100% bump. We can take,
So more than a 5x increase in
Yeah.
quality.
so what we can do is we can take a long chain molecule, which is a waxy molecule, and using the special proprietary laser technology with a small amount of gas, which comes out the rock anyway, we take that long chain molecule and molecularly cut it, molecular scissors and cut it, and we convert the whole barrel. You know how you hear about the tops and the bottoms of a barrel in the industry? Well, in Fort McMurray, they're still left with about 12% what they call the bottoms. That actually helps them make bitumen and pitch and roof tar and a whole bunch of other nasty stuff because it's the low value end. But we take 1 barrel of this waxy oil, put in some of the gas that's coming from the rock anyway, and we take 1 barrel and make 2 barrels of octane. We get exact 100% increase in volume.
There's nothing left over.
And there's no bottoms, there's no waste stream, there's no water contamination, there's no waste contamination, and you're doubling your capacity.
And, Nigel, excuse me, an interruption. And also the talent of this one, we have a lot of potassium and phosphorus, and we can create billion of acres of farmland in Peru.
So
That
the,
is, you know what I mean.
yeah, so the business model here is socio-economic. Peru is socialist by nature, but not socialist in action. They want
Well said.
Yeah, they want to help the people, but there's lots of poor people. There's still that spread of the different, there's the no people that don't even register, then there's the poor people, the middle class people, the blue collar, highly educated and super wealthy, and there's like 4 or 5 different spreads. Our business model and what Vincent and myself actually presented to the Peruvian government back in 2013 is that when you actually look at the analysis of this rock, and because it was an ocean 167 million years ago, when the tectonic plates moved and the Andes grew and the water spread and disappeared, that material was locked up in sedimentary layers. Some of the lights off-gassed, some gas is still entrained, some oil is still there, but it's classed as immature oil. It's not made it all the way to oil, but we've got technology that can take it to better than basic oil. But what's very important, the point that Vincent raised, and I was going to touch on, is when you remove the so-called hydrocarbon element and you analyse what's left in the rock, it's low-grade fertiliser. It's got traces of every mineral in it, because in the ocean, every mineral that's in the periodic table is dissolved in the water, and that mineral dropped out over time and is embedded in all the rock. So when you analyse the rock after the hydrocarbons and gas are taken out, it's non-toxic, but it's low-grade fertiliser.
You know how many acres we can create?
So instead of having the ugly site that you see in Fort McMurray, it's a scar on the world, you can see it from the space station, we remediate as we go. There's no tailings ponds, no tailings stockpiles, and just the way the Incas many thousands of years ago worked out, if you terrace the land and slow down the movement of water, you can irrigate by gravity as you go, and the water gets retained, the roots take what they need, it moves down the line. We intend to make engineered farmland. So this will be the first economic, social program where, first of all, we remove the contamination, because we've already checked out in certain parts of Peru where these natural outcrops appear. It's not a coincidence that the cancer level is 9 times higher than the background level you get in Lima or other areas away from there. It's a direct correlation to the cancer scares and levels you get north of Fort McMurray. So anywhere there's vast quantities of hydrocarbons that either seep into the water system, as in Peru, because it runs off the cascades off the mountains, saturates in the soil, goes down into the valleys, it stays within the soil, it goes into the grass, the cattle eat the grass, the humans eat the cattle, the people grow vegetables, they drink the water, and they get bioaccumulation of these toxins, and it's 9 times higher, and it's unusual types of cancer.
Not only that, I went to San Marcos, Cajamarca. Actually, I saw one town completely have cancer, because they in the oil shale there, with the water coming in and cut half of them. You saw it, right?
Yeah.
In Cajamarca.
In Cajamarca, San Marcos.
Yeah, I was there with the mayor.
I was in Cajamarca 3 years ago.
Now, if you go north of Fort McMurray, so you have all these smokestacks, and the pollution is in the air. Now, the government, the past government in Canada, basically said that there was no pollution. Okay.
Past government. We're not talking about the Trudeau administration.